Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm at the Kuti Heritage Museum in Abeokuta. So I'll be showing you guys how the Kuti family live from the first generation to the second generation to the third generation, and also more about the legendary fela Abeokuta Kuti.
Welcome to the Kuti Heritage Museum.
Okay.
This used to be the residence of the Reverend Abeokuta Ransome Kuti and his wife Funmilayo. We have a brief history on the two of them. Israel Ogun was born April 30, 1891. He studied in Lagos Grammar School. Israel is a person that was born by Josiah Ransome Kuti. He's from the Kuti heritage lineage, and in their lineage, they first served the ransoms as colonial. Their colonial masters were ransom. That's hence why they are Ransome Kuti.
Okay.
That is, Josiah's father was a slave, but he now became an Anglican minister. That is his father, and so did Israel. So Israel now studied in Lagos Grammar School, came back to Abeokuta Grammar School to finish.
Who is Israel to Femi?
Femi Kuti is his grandfather.
This is his grandfather.
Yes. This is the father of Fela.
Okay.
This is Fela's father.
This is Fela's father.
His brief history. He was the first black principal of Abeokuta Grammar School.
Okay.
The Kuti Hall in University of Ibadan is named after him. He was the pioneer president of the Nigerian Union of Teachers from 1931 until shortly before his death.
Okay.
That is, he died in 1955, April 6, from cancer-related illness.
Okay.
In this residence.
Okay. So the next place.
Funmilayo was born 1900 and died 1978. He was born to the Thomas family. The Thomas family house is just 3 houses from here.
In Abeokuta?
Yeah, on this street. Okay. In 1914, she was among the first female students in Abeokuta Grammar School, because before 1914, it was all boys. In 1919, she went to Wincham to further her studies, but the racism she witnessed made her come back to Nigeria to drop all her English names and stop wearing Western apparel. She became a total African. In 1944, she formed the Abeokuta Ladies Club, which later became the Abeokuta Women's Union, committed to defending women's political, social, and economic rights. She was the only woman in the delegation that went to negotiate for Nigeria's constitution in 1946, aside from being the first woman to drive a car. So let's move on. Here we have the Ransome Kuti family tree. Israel is the son of Josiah Ransome Kuti. He married Funmilayo from the Thomas family, and he gave birth to 4 children: Dolu, Olikoye, Fela, and Beko. This is a picture of the family as at the time, with the Reverend Funmilayo, Dolu, Olikoye, and Beko, Fela, and Beko. They got married 20th of January 1925, okay. And we have the birth and death dates of the children, with the first born being the last to pass on. They were both serving ministers in the Grand Communion, but their love for music led them to compose so many songs. But this is their most famous. The Egba was composed by JJ. I'm sure you know it now. I just sing the first verse. Lórí òkè àti pẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀, ibẹ̀ la gbé bí mi sí o, ibẹ̀ la gbé tọ́ mi dàgbà o, ilẹ̀ òmìnira. Èmi ó fa Abeokuta ṣògo, tí wọ́n dúró lórí Olúmọ, máa yọ̀ lórí ikọ̀ Ẹ̀gbá o, èmi ọmọ Olúṣàbí. Máa yọ̀ lórí Olúmọ, máa yọ̀ lórí Olúmọ. You're welcome. Abeokuta Grammar School. That is Ake Church, the first cathedral. This picture was taken from Olumo, so you can see all of Abeokuta from the place. Abeokuta Grammar School, founded in 1908,
Is the school still functioning? Is it still
Yes,
functioning in Abeokuta?
yes. But this building is there now. It's now a postgraduate school of theology. It's gone back to the missionary.
Okay.
Abeokuta Grammar School has moved to their permanent site at Diaba. We have Mr. Lodot went to this school as well, became a principal in this school. Then we have other notable alumni: Wole Soyinka, Abeokuta Ransome Kuti, Fela, Abeokuta Kuti, Okwade Shiju, the former Oni, Josiah Bajekodunmi, Tunde Kelani, Funmilayo, and a host of others. We have pictures of him and his staff, him and the entire staff. This was when he was still under the missionary. This was the principal then. A lot of students stayed with him in this building. That is why this place is like halls. This is a picture of him and students that were staying with him at the time. We have a picture of Funmilayo receiving an honorary doctorate in law from the University of Ibadan. So let's move on. You've seen this now. He was the pioneer president of the Nigerian Union of Teachers from 1931 until shortly before his death in 1954. So over here, we have newspaper excerpts of their lives and times. On the right, we have concerning the Reverend, and on the left, we have concerning Funmilayo. The most notable picture or story here would be the account of by the Alaki that was deposed by Funmilayo's protest. This is the story as said by the Alaki himself. Concerning all the that be going on.
These are just random articles.
No, concerning her. Most of them is concerning the protest, because you see taxation of must continue. It was a protest. This is a picture of the protest. The security was quite right. Women in Nigeria refused to have their conditions misrepresented. You know, she was always outspoken about women's rights. Policies, passports of Mrs. Kuti.
These are during the protest.
This is after protest itself, because she was always anti-government. Here we have.
So I want to ask a question. Who stayed in this house?
After the death of Funmilayo and Israel, their firstborn, Dolu, was the last person living in these premises.
Fela stayed here.
He was born here.
Okay, he was born here.
He was born in this building. He schooled when he was in Baptist Boys. He schooled here. I mean, when he was in Abeokuta Grammar School, that is the school that his father was principal. He lived here until he graduated from secondary school and went abroad to further his studies.
Funmilayo stayed here.
Yes.
All her life.
When she got married to Israel. Her family house is 3 blocks away. So she stayed there because she got married to him. This picture was taken shortly before her death. It was after she was pushed from Fela's building. She was 78 at the time. So she died shortly after that. Contrary to people's beliefs, the Obasanjo was quite close to this family because you can see a picture of him where during pre-colonial times, and you can see there is a lot of distance between him and because he and no, Fela was probably abroad at this time, was studying abroad this time. Putting into recognition that this house is almost 100 years old, you will notice that the steps are all made of wood, hard wood, and the decking is also pure wood. The house is made of rocks and mud, so it's pre-brick time, before blocks were being used for houses. And despite being 100 years, it is still sturdy and safe. Okay. Over here we have Funmilayo's study. This is where she sat down to compose the letters that made her
So this chair
famous.
They have been here for like how many years?
Bordering on 80, 70, definitely older than the children, and the children are about 60s, they're in their 60s. Over here we have the Reverend's visiting area. This is where the Reverend received guests.
So this is where they took that picture. The one at the frame, there was someone frame downstairs. That you said she took for her last picture.
No. I don't think that was in Lagos. That was in Ikeja. That was in Lagos. Okay, and here we have the Reverend's room with some of his apparel that we met, that we could save.
Reverend.
The Reverend's clothes that we could save. Israel Oludotu. We always refer to him here as the Reverend. He's the second generation of musicians that gave birth to Fela. Fela gave birth to Femi. Femi gave birth to Madi. They have passed 5 generations of music down. The only thing I can say is that Fela now took his mother's activism and his father's music to become a legend in Afrobeat. It's not plugged right now because we don't want that. It's something that is
almost like how
it's definitely older than the children, maybe 60, 70, maybe 80 self. Because definitely, if this was not here, there was another one before it. There was always a keyboard or piano in their house. That is how all they have been able to pass on music to generations and generations. Over here is the family living area. That was this thing. This is where the family stays. This is where Reverend Oludotu and his wife, they chill out, watch a few programs, play a little music, generally just enjoy themselves. Then the dining side of it. Funmilayo was well traveled, so she collected a lot of things, but very important also is her love for alternative medicine. That is, she was into traditional stuff, that is agumu, agbo, all those kind of things. That's why we have all these jars. This jar was labeled for one particular item or the other.
this is Fela's
Mother's room. This is Fela's mother's room. You notice the dressing mirror. This is antique. You can't find things like this anymore. So, why not? Fela was actually the one that took after his mother completely, everything. If you notice, Fela was the one that actually took after his mother, because the activism in him was raised by her. She, at the time, challenged him when he was still just playing Beatles music and things. She challenged him that you have a gift you can share with the world. Use your gift to try to correct wrongs. That is, talk about justice and things like that. And that is where the inspiration to be an activist, a musical activist, came from. It was actually encouraged by his mom. Here is the bathroom. If you notice the bowl and the sink, at that time, if you have this, you are a white man. You can't, you just, no explanation, you are just an Englishman for you to install this in your house. Now, that building was finished by Funmilayo before her death. This was actually built by Israel, but she finished that one. It's bricks, but it's colonial bricks, different from the bricks we have today. One step, this is the inner house step, but you can see it's so steep. Very few people of our generation can actually manage this thing. Don't talk about fetching water up and down this. Can you believe?
So this is the, what do you call this building again?
Second generation photo museum.
Okay.
It's dedicated to the 4 children that were given birth to by Funmilayo Ransome Kuti and Israel. Here we have UNESCO's tribute to Funmilayo. UNESCO made a tribute to women in African history, and Funmilayo was one of the women that they featured. It's basically her story in animation so that children can assimilate it. This is the second generation of the Kuti family, the 4 children that were given birth to in this building. We start with the firstborn, Dolu. She was a nurse. She served in the Lagos State Ministry of Health. She retired as a matron in Island Maternity and came to live here. She was the last family member to die. She gave birth to 2 children, but one of them is deceased. She died in 1997 from cancer-related illness. Here we have Olikoye. He is the second born. He was a medical doctor, a professor of pediatrics, WHO consultant, Minister of Health, and the pioneer of Nigeria's primary healthcare scheme. In medical terms, he was a legend. He died on the 1st of June 2003. Here we have Funmilayo Kuti. You will notice he's the only one that is not ransom amongst them. He's the third born of this family.
How come it's not ransom? How come?
Later in his life, when he became self-aware, he stated that the ransom name is a slave name.
Oh, wow.
And he is not a slave. Even the people that were slaves had been released, but they have not released themselves. Hence the song Colonial Mentality. Colonial Mentality. Mr. Ransom make you hear Colonial Mentality. So that is why he changed it to Anikulaku, meaning I have death in my pocket. He actually was supposed to go and study medicine to the best of his father's knowledge, but between him and his younger brother, his co-conspirator 5 and 6, they lied to the father that he was going to study medicine while he was going to study music. He came back in 1963, worked a little in the radio station before facing his true passion of music. As a musician, he started with the Kola Lubitos, but later when he had realized himself, he formed the Egypt band, which was first Africa 70, then became Egypt 80. It was Africa 70, then Egypt 80. It takes a lot for this person to become this person. If you look at the face I'm showing you, it takes a lot for this person to become this person.
This was when he started the band?
Yes. This is him and the Kula Lubutos playing in the Western style until he became fully Africanized. Last but not the least is the fourth born, direct younger brother to Fela, is 5 and 6. They were always together. If you see Fela at a show, he's there. He was a medical doctor, but he stopped practicing medicine after Fela's house in Calcutta was burned to the ground and his mother pushed from the window by unknown soldiers. He had a clinic in the compound which was also burnt at the time, so he stopped practicing medicine and faced the campaign for the defense of human rights squarely, alongside people like Ganifawa Enwi and Wale Soyinka and the likes of him. He died on 10th of February 2006. Here we have Fela at his graduation. His mother was there obviously because she was his background. She was always there. This is him when he came back to Abeokuta in 1963 with his wife and 2 children. This is Turayo. Yes, this is Turayo. Turayo is Sheu's mom. This is Sheu and Turayo. This is Sheu. Yes. This is fighting. First of all, the last one. She's Fela's last name. This is some of the last one. Last children. This is the minister, Nicolet, his wife and his child. The same picture here, maybe 30-40 years before. The family was kind of close, despite any bad blood that might have been. The family was bond. Like I said, Fela, 5 and 6.
They have always been very close.
Yes, from childhood. This is one of the children practically. All the children actually can play instruments. But when you grow in that community and not able to play one thing or the other. So you can see practicing on the trumpet. One picture of them doing different things. Ladies. Funny enough, when during his mother's burial at that St. John's Church, he brought over a dozen of these ladies.
Wow.
They were parading the aisle in the church. Wow. Imagine during the service, women dressed like this, going down the aisle like this. They go through this, come out that way. They come out this way, they go this way. Throughout the service.
Wow.
Very, very incredible man. Here's the third generation of the Kutis, the children. What we have here are the children that Fela gave birth to because they are the ones in entertainment for their privacy. Yeah. So what we have here is the children. Yeni, Femi, Funle, Sheon, Moturayo. Shola is deceased.
Okay.
A picture of Sheon Wadeki. This is Femi at Fela's last post.
Here?
Yes, Femi at Fela's last post.
Last what?
Post is dying in state.
Okay.
Was when he had passed away. And Sheon Wadeki.
How old is he here in this picture? Do you have idea?
He's 10 or 12. It's not past 12.
And this girl was married.
It was actually smaller.
She's married.
She's married now.
No, okay, this is the smaller one. It is much bigger there.
Who is this person?
DJ with Shalema.
Who is this person?
It's Mutrayo. See Mutrayo, see
We're
and
living abroad here.
No.
No, this is Kuti residence, their house in Ikeja.
Okay.
This is the wife, but they're not all together. My dad's mom. That's not okay.
She was still part of the
So let's go to the last car.
And lastly, we have the garage.
Okay.
So the car we went to the premises when we took it over to the television. Because the last car being driven by Fela's mom, that is Funmilayo, and it's been there for at least 30 to 40 years.